Hey everybody, my name is Kevin White, PDGA number 126606, and this is my end of the season in the bag. So I did a beginning of the season in the bag, and I wanted to share what I finished the season with, how I think things kind of went, give you some updates on quite a few different things. So as I showed in the beginning of the season, I am using the Ridge bag by Ridge Roller Customs. Joe Robinson owns this company out of Wisconsin. Great bag, has the built-in stool, as you can see the little silver edge here, padded seat cushion, tons of storage. I also have the R3 cart with the box. I actually took the box off the last couple of tournaments and decided to go bag only on the roller, and so I unbolted the R3 box, snapped in. It's got built-in snaps, as you can see here, and up on the top on the shoulder pads that snaps onto the roller, and it allows you to just hit those 4 buckles and pop it off. And you know, if you're on a really hilly course, high elevation, lots of woods or whatever that you can't navigate with a cart very well, and just go strictly with the bag. So wonderful wonderful company, and I'm proud to say in 2022 I'm going to be a member of Team Ridge Roller, so I'm very thankful for that opportunity. Speaking of sponsors, I would like to thank Team Infinite. I've been a part of Team Infinite since December of last year. Been such a blessing to be able to represent them, and I look forward to the upcoming season with them as well. So much appreciated to my sponsors. Let's start with the putters. I throw Proto Fierces. These are my throwing putters for understability, and my putting putter for my everyday rounds. Great straight flyers. Going into my approach disc, as well as some of my throwing putters, I throw the Paul Macbeth limited edition Big Z Lunas. I have 3 different ones, a little bit different in stability. Also just kind of tested out the waters over the last few months, trying to swap out just because some of these were new. This is a newer one for me, even though it is not new. I bought it used. Great addition to the bag. The gray one here, which is a really new addition to the bag over the last couple of weeks. And the trusty one that's been around for quite some time. I actually had an ace with another white one that I have, and I went ahead and hung it on the ace wall. So that was my go-to until I added the other 2. I also have the Metallic Z Paul Macbeth Luna, a little bit understable compared to my Big Z Lunas. Actually has a little bit more turn than my other throwing putter and approach disc is my Metallic Z Fierce, the 21 Tour Series Fierce. Actually very overstable compared to what I thought it would be. Definitely not like my putting putters. This is my understable throwing putter that I use in a different plastic. This is the 2019 Player of the Year Crystal Fierce. Really like the way it flies. Has a lot of glide to it. And then my Glow Swirl Zone. This is the MDGO run, and I think Disc Baron ran a lot of these. I grabbed probably 4 or 5, maybe 6 of them. They are my go-tos. They feel great. They have a lot of stability to them. They don't turn on me like the others have in the past. Going to the buzz, I carried quite a few buzzes. This is an extremely straight buzz. This is the Boxer Bee buzz from Infinite Discs that they released last year, or maybe even in 2019. I think it was 2019 actually. Unreal straight disc. I mean, like, has almost 0 fade, and really no turn either. I mean, if it wasn't crystal clear, it would be my absolute go-to, but it's really hard to find sometimes because of it being clear. But wonderful crystal buzz, so straight, so reliable. One of my other favorites is a 10-year Buzz, you know, in the Elite Z plastic. Amazing feel, great glide, straight shooter, has a little bit of a finish. I just added this one this week, so it hasn't really been in the bag, but it definitely is going to be. I went out and threw it. I've owned a lot of 4-time Buzzes, but you know, I sold a lot of them because of what they were worth, and I regretted it, and I finally found a thrower. So I appreciate the nice 4-time that I picked up. It's got the Wonder Bread full, which, you know, is cool, but not a huge deal to me. But you know, it's just a really great flying disc. I really like the feel of the 4-time, and also the 5-time. It's very much a thrown disc in my bag. Probably one of the most thrown. Great shooter, very straight. Has a good fade to it as well, though. I can throw it with a lot of power, and it just doesn't turn over on me at all. Also, the Test Flight Malta. Haven't used this as much this year as I thought I might. More so relied on my buzzes, but the Malta is a great overstable buzz. Basically, you know, has a little. The Test Flights have really good glide to them, so I've been impressed with that. But I have not used this as much as I thought I might this year. Going on to my Fairways, this has been a huge plus in my bag. This is a Proto Passion. When Paige, you know, said that she knew there was a hole in Discraft's lineup for that disc that she just wanted to put there at an 8 or 9 speed that had some turn to it, that would, you know, kind of control the angle of whatever she had it on and keep it, had a ton of glide. This is the disc. There's no question. I've probably 7 of these Protos in my backup bag, and they are phenomenal. I would die if this disc came out of my bag ever. So that's why I bought a ton of backups. I also bought the Glow Passion. Interestingly enough, great straight shooter, but has a lot of finish to it. The harder you throw it, the less finish it has. But you know, this disc, I can throw it as far as some of my you know, 10-speed fairway drivers or even my distance drivers. It's got a ton of glide, great stability. I really like the Glow. I've got a backup of it as well. Wish I had about 10 more of those, so I'll have to work on that someday. Then going into my 10-speed fairways, this is a Beat the Beast Onyx, Test Flight Onyx. Great disc. I've actually got 2 of the Test Flight Onyxes that both have been my ace disc. So I've aced with both of these. Extremely straight, not a ton of fade, and this is actually my understable one. It has a good bit of turn to it. If you've seen Paul throw the Onyx, I know I'm definitely not Paul Macbeth, but when Paul was throwing the Onyx, I noticed that it had a lot of turn to it, and I thought, man, I wish I could get mine to do that. And then I seasoned this one up, beat it in a little bit, and it is that turning disc, but straight, very straight. More of an overstable. Onyx is another Test Flight that I have. Doesn't have a massive amount of fade, so I use this one as my extremely overstable Test Flight Onyx. So I've got 4 Test Flight Onyxes in the bag, 1 understable, 1 very straight, 1 fairly stable, 1 very overstable. And I try to make sure I don't use them too much, like overuse them, so I can make sure they maintain that stability. There's definitely a difference in the dominess to this one here compared to this one here. So that's where the stability probably lies as well. But I've been throwing the yellow Test Flight for quite some time. My absolute favorite disc that I use quite often is definitely the Onyx. Then going to the Crystal Raptor. This is my forehand go-to. I haven't, you know, to be honest, I haven't used my forehand this year like I did last year. But this disc will get you out of trouble. I use it a lot as a utility disc just to get me out of the rough. Very overstable. Will fight back. I can put it on a huge anhyzer and it'll flex back always. But I've got probably 6 7 or 8 of these. 3 or 4 have not been thrown. Other 3 or 4 plus this one have been thrown. They all seem to have a very good stability. Certainly the more you use them, more you hit trees with them, whatever it, the more it breaks it in. But some have been very flat, some have been very domey, and I really, really like this run. It's my favorite run of the Raptor or any forehand disc that I've thrown. Just, extremely reliable. And then a new one that I added into the bag this year was the Crystal Heat. So I've never thrown a Heat, and I picked a Heat up. A buddy of mine gave me a Heat, and I threw it, and I was like, man, this is great. Well, I've always wanted to learn how to throw rollers. I've been unsuccessful at throwing rollers, and then I saw somebody posted one day about the Crystal Heat being an absolute phenomenal backhand and roller disc. So as I've worked on my backhand this year a lot, the forehand, as I mentioned, kind of went away. So the roller, I had a forehand roller. I've kind of stopped throwing it. I started throwing the backhand roller with the Crystal Heat. These things go far. They turn very quickly. They get on the ground. Fantastic addition to the bag. Something that I've added back to the bag. So this is a Test Flight Scorch, ESP plastic. I think they came out with the Michael Johansson version of the ESP plastic, but the Scorch came out. I got some Test Flights. I had, I think, 3 or 4, and then I used this one for a while. Never threw any of the other ones. Decided that it wasn't a big enough difference between that and my Test Flight Hades, so I just kind of dumped it in the practice bag. I never threw it. It was one of those deals. And then I decided about 2 months ago to pick it back up, and I don't really know why. Just because I saw it laying around, I was like, hey, I'm gonna throw it. And I had a few backups that were brand new. One with the Flowerful, which I know some of you absolutely love. And I was thinking, hey, if I'm not gonna use it, I might as well sell it, give it to somebody that wants, the Flowerfuls. It's extremely beautiful. And I think I have it over here somewhere. Let's see. Yeah. So there's your Flowerful Test Flight. Absolutely gorgeous disc. Has the halo around the outside. So I decided to throw this one, and it immediately made its way back in the bag. It just has a different feel in flight to my Hades. My Hades like to, turn over a good bit. My season one, at least, I'll tell you about in just a moment. This disc goes a long way. Has added a lot of distance to my throw. Of course, since I worked on my backhand a lot this year, that has definitely changed that as well. But great disc, has a great amount of turn and a ton of fade back to it. Fights the wind really well. I've been very pleased with adding the Test Flight Scorch back to my bag. And then the Test Flight Hades. Test Flight Hades are fun discs to have. Very understable because I beat it in a lot. This is one that I've thrown for probably 1.5 years. I added this one about mid-season. It is definitely starting to turn, but it is a 170, 172. I've only thrown max weight for the most part in it previously. So this one had a surprising amount of fight back, being a little bit lighter. But man, these have been really great for me. Lots of distance. The only thing I've noticed is a little bit of inconsistency in maybe the way I release or something of that nature. This one specifically, that some days it seems like it's a little overstable, some days not so much. So it's kind of going to that stock run situation, whereas this one has been very, very good for me. I've almost got to the point where I was going to retire this, and then I thought, I need a little bit of something that's going to give me some turn and on an Anheuser and not come back, but not turn into a roller as well. So that might be staying around, but I really have enjoyed throwing this yellow one. So that's all that's in my bag for the most part. I will say that one of the other additions I've added this year, I've gone through so many different types of dry sacks or whatever, grip bags, whatever you want to call them, that I tried the Discraft one. I've tried some mitten bags. I've tried the some other ones I won't go through all those. But anyway, I've tried quite a few, and the well sack has been my answer. So I'm a fidgety person. I like to walk between holes, walk between throws, and I'll roll my hand over and over again. I keep this in my offhand. You'll see, I think like Adam Hammis does that a lot. And it just allows me to focus more. I'm one of those people that I talk with my hands a lot. I use my hands doing different things, and I go, what am I supposed to do with my offhand whenever I'm throwing? And I'm bad about flailing my arm when I release. I just don't have the right timing just right yet. And so this reminds me to drive my hand down through my shot. And so I've really enjoyed using the well sack. I've got quite a few of these. I'm, as you saw, a bright colored person. I'm colorblind, so having a lighter color, I have like a bunch of rainbow colors on one that's, I can't remember the exact pattern, but it's got to be really bright, or otherwise I will lose it. So I've unfortunately, I found one I guess last year, and it didn't have a name or number. I posted it on our local page. Nobody said anything about it, so I kept it. And somebody had actually already tied it back together. I think they broke it or something, so it wasn't as full. Well, I got to using it, enjoyed it, and then it eventually fell apart. So I wound up ordering a couple more, and I've really enjoyed keeping a well sack in my hand at all times. It stays in my truck. Sometimes I pick it up. I'll just be driving down the road playing with it or whatever. So it's just it's kind of a habit thing now, but I really like my well sack. So appreciate Eric and Tina for making quality products there. I was going to show you some backups. We talked about the glow swirl zones. I've got this backup here. I've got those two as well. You can tell, again, I like the really bright colors. And then talking about the crystal Raptors, got quite a few of those. That's my backups that are brand new, and then quite a few more in the bag. One of my favorite test flight Maltas backed up. The Tour Series Metallic Z, and a ton of backups of my Proto Fierces. Got twins here. Some more flag stamps. This is actually a Memorial Championship. Was what was said to be a Jawbreaker blend. I'm really not sure. I don't touch it very often, leave it in the package. And my newest edition, which is an absolute bleeder. It reminds me a lot of this one here. It's got the red swirls in it. Really like it. My backup Crystal Heats. I've got one more in the bag that I've thrown in my backup bag. My backup Scorches, the one I showed you earlier. That is the flower foil, as well as the other test flight that I have is blue. And then my backup test flight Hades. This is my newest two editions, the lime green one there, the charcoal one, the other newest edition, and a couple more that I bought back a year or so ago. Beautiful swirls, lots of halos. And then my last backup is my Beat the Beast Test Flight Onyx. So I've got quite a few new test flights, new backups of different molds that I've added. Again, I appreciate you watching my end of the year in the bag. My tournament season is over. I played in a lot of tournaments this year, had some great finishes. Towards the end of the season, I kind of fell off. I'm actually building a disc golf course here in South Tilla, Mississippi. It's called Tiger Creek. You'll have to check it out. It'll be on my YouTube channel. I've actually been working on a video, for introductory or whatever. And not this weekend, but the next coming weekend, December 3rd and 4th, I'm actually going to be out on the course with a mulching crew. I've cut down a lot of trees. They're going to come in and mulch up the trees that are currently on the ground, and then clear some more fairways for me that I couldn't get to. So definitely check out that video coming up. It'll be quite a series of videos, and then of course I'll have the opening day or whatever, maybe some walkthroughs before it opens up. It'll be a great course, a completely wooded course, very challenging, yet also an available course for our amateurs to play on. I've got young kids that play, and so they'll get to kind of be introduced there as well. I've got multiple pin placements to change the course up to make it more simple or more difficult. We're planning on hosting quite a few tournaments there in the next year. Hopefully it'll be open by spring of 2022, definitely by summer of 2022, and kind of get us on the circuit. So again, appreciate you checking in. Appreciate you watching my video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you saw some cool plastic.